this video, we're going to look at how we can add realistic muzzle flashes by using muzzle flash clips that have an alpha channel. Okay, so here we are in Media Composer, and in the last video we saw how to take our green screen footage and key that out and put something behind it. All right, and we also saw in the video before that on how to subclip out our larger clips, okay, which is what we've done here, subclipped them out and put together a little short sequence here. Okay, and what we want to do is add a realistic muzzle flash to our gunshot here. Because if we I'll just hit play. All right, so that's not too exciting without some visual feedback. Now I've already imported some muzzle flashes that have an alpha channel, and what an alpha channel basically means is all this black here will appear transparent whenever we place it over our video clip. Kind of like a green screen, a little bit different though. So for example, I'll just take this muzzle flash, we'll just pop it in right here, and you can see, boom, there's the flash. All right, but it's not covering up our entire video, okay? Just Control Z out of that. Now, if I were to have something, muzzle flash that doesn't have an alpha channel, it's just on black, and we cut that in, now that takes up our entire video screen. There's no transparency here. Maybe we could use like a blending mode or something. So an alpha channel muzzle flash clip is what you need. Now, if you don't have any muzzle flashes with an alpha channel, you can go to footagecrate.com. They have some free ones that you can use. Just sign up there. And they also have some sounds, gunshot sounds that you can use royalty free. They also have a paid option, of course. Another place you can go for sounds and for, I think, a few free alpha channel muzzle flashes is specialeffectsstock.com. So be sure to check them out. Other places that might have them would be like digitaljuice.com, that's paid, videoblocks.com, that's paid, and there's plenty of other places to buy stock footage. But these are free. I want to make sure everybody can find something for free. So those are the clips that we are using today, the ones from Footage Crate. All right. Now I already have these clips imported into Media Composer, but we need to go over some settings here first. Okay. So first we'll come here to import, double click that, and look at your image size adjustment. Now for a muzzle flash, sometimes those are delivered in less than HD. They might be 720 or maybe 480. In that case, I would definitely choose do not resize smaller images, because muzzle flashes, as you're going to see in a minute, we usually size those down anyway. We scale them down anyway. There's no reason to scale up an image that's already smaller. Okay, at least in most cases. So just be aware of this setting here. If you're using something smaller like a muzzle flash, make sure you choose that do not resize. But the clips we are importing, they're already sized perfectly fine. So I'll just leave it on that. Either one of these would actually be fine. Now, the real important settings are the alpha channel. Media Composer treats our alpha channels the opposite of almost every other NLE out there. So for Media Composer, white is opaque. And if we do not invert it, then black is opaque. We want to invert on import. If we ignore it, then there will be no alpha channel. We'll quickly go through these settings. So invert on import is what you want. Click OK. Now we can import our muzzle flash, which I've already done, which to import, just drag it over and release it, but we've already done that here. So we'll just grab this one here, and right there it is. Looks good. We can cut it into our scene. Looks perfectly fine. Okay. Now, what if I were to come to our settings here and came to import, and what if we said do not invert? Okay. Well, now we'll import. I believe it's this one here. We'll just import this real quick. Won't take very long. It's a really, really short clip. Okay, so that should be up here. Now we did not invert our alpha, so that's what ends up happening. We'll cut that in. So that doesn't look right at all. Okay, so this is correct here. This is not correct. Okay, so it's very important that you get this set on invert on import. If we just choose ignore and we import it, we'll just grab it, throw it in. Right here it is, and as you can see, it doesn't look good at all. Okay, because our alpha channel was completely ignored. So you see how it covers up our entire screen, all the video below it. Okay, let's Control Z out of all this. So let's go back to importing our muzzle flash. But first, let me change this back to invert on import. Okay. And by the way, we can also use AMA link, or link as it's now called. Let's go here to our link settings and link options. And right now my alpha channel is on ignore. So if you want to use link, make sure you invert All right. But I don't usually use link, for an alpha channel because sometimes there can be problems. So if I go here to link, I'll just choose one with the alpha channel, hit OK. You see it puts my mat key on there for me. So you can use link as well if you choose. I usually just import them because it's just very easy to do. All right, so go back to import, make sure everything's set correctly. And let's import this. Even though we have it, I'll just import it again just so we can see exactly what happens. So first it creates our video fill. And after that, it has our alpha data. Okay, and right here it is. And you can see it's got the mat key on it. So it's ready to be used right in our scene. Okay, so now that we've covered all that, how to import our alpha channels, where to find muzzle flashes that have an alpha channel, let's go ahead and cut this into our scene. So what we'll do is I'll get to about the point. I'm using the keys on my keyboard, left and right. And right there is where the shot goes. So let's go through some of our shots here, our muzzle flashes. Let's just use a normal one here, just a kind of a plain one. So we'll use this one. We'll just put it in there and out there. So it's I and O. And I'll just cut that right into the scene. Let's zoom in here so we can see this. It's only about a frame long. Okay, so as I mentioned, it already has our mat key applied to our alpha channel footage. And we can see that right here in the effects. So let's go to the effects editor. We can already do several things here, like scaling, which definitely we're going to need to scale that down. So fixed aspect ratio. Let's scale that down. And we can, of course, do things like crop and tracking, but we don't need to track. This is only 1 frame long, as you can see. Now, if we show the alpha, you can see what the alpha channel is there. We can invert the key. All right. And we can, of course, adjust our position. But the problem we have is this muzzle flash is actually backwards. See, we're on this side, and our muzzle flash is actually coming from a gun on this side over here. So what we want to do here with our mat key, and you may not have to do this if everything's lined up, but I want to make sure I mention it, is right down here is a 3D warp promote. So promote this to 3D. So let's go and do that. Promote to 3D. And now you can see we have a 3D mat key with several more options. So what we need to do is come here to rotate. And I'm going to rotate this 180 degrees. Okay, so now it's perfectly got the perfect orientation for us. So we'll just match this up. That looks pretty good there. But I'm also going to use a little Z rotation on this, just to make it go upwards. And right about there. All right, pretty cool. So now let's close that down and let's watch it. So that looks a lot better than just that, right? And we need to adjust that a little bit more because the gun actually goes up right there, because it takes a little bit for our eyes to process and our brains to process what's going on. I actually need to raise this up a little bit more just to make it look a little more real. And we'll use a little more Z rotation on this. Okay. That should work pretty well. And of course, the muzzle flash probably wouldn't be that big on a real gun anyway. And by the way, the gun we're using here is a prop gun. It's fake. It's not real. Okay, so, never use a real gun. It takes a fraction of a second to make a mistake and forget that it's loaded. Always use a prop gun. And even if you're using a prop gun, if you're going outside, or even if you're inside and people don't know about it, realize people around you don't know a prop gun is fake. Okay? So if you're out shooting at some location, make sure you have a permit if you need one, and alert the authorities. Anytime you're going to have something that looks like a real gun and you're going to be outside acting like you're shooting it, people around you, they don't know it's fake. So be sure to just do everything by the letter of the law, so that way you don't accidentally get shot by somebody who thinks you have a real gun, okay? All right, so back to what we were doing here. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Much better. Okay, so that is basically the end of this video. If you want to stop watching here, we're going to keep going on and do a few more things, because, boom, as you can see, there's another gunshot there. So we'll just use everything we've already learned to put another gunshot in right here. Now we can use the same muzzle flash we had. This clip here with the alpha actually has a bunch of different muzzle flashes in it. So we'll just scroll through and find one we like. Or you know what? What do you say? We choose one that's completely different. I like this one here. It's got some smoke coming out of it, which is pretty cool. So why don't we go ahead and cut that in right there? Again, this is on top of our other video footage. That should be clear. So right there. Okay, and we have the same problem as last time, as the flash is going the opposite direction. So I'm going to go ahead and promote that to 3D right now. And the first thing I'm going to do is rotate it 180 degrees. So I flip it around there. Just use my arrow keys to get it exact. Okay, and we'll go ahead and move it around. Now it's way too big. So we'll come to our scaling, fix the aspect ratio, and let's pull this down. That looks pretty good. I'll have to see it here. We're just adjusting it. And you can always zoom in if you want to right there with your enlarge there. But I can see it pretty well here. That is actually comically large. I'll go down a little more. Could be much smaller than that, but we want this for visual effects. So it looks pretty good. We have the smoke coming out. All right, so let's check this out. Pretty good. Let me render it because my computer is slowing down because I've got Pro Tools running, Media Composer running. I'm recording the screen. Lots going on right here. Okay. Oh yeah, see? That looks really cool. All right, so that is obviously much better than just seeing that. So this is much better. Okay, let's move on, shall we? We have another clip here, which we could use the same protocols that we've already learned by adding in our shots, but let's go down here to this one here. So for this clip, you can see we've made our actor black and white on a color background, and we'll have a color flash, muzzle flash, to just add some contrast. So this might be like a, opening to a cop drama show, right? Which almost looks like our beginning. You could have introducing agent, well, whatever, I don't know. Go to the end there, just hit the end key. Okay, let's go ahead and add our muzzle flashes in here. And we'll just use the ones we have from Footage Crate. Let's just go through a couple of them here. This one here looks pretty cool. I'm not sure how well it will work, but let's find out right about here where we want to cut that in. Okay. So right there it is. And of course, it's going to effects mode here. And we need to promote this to 3D and then flip it around 180. All right. We'll pull it over. And this needs to be scaled down. Fix the aspect ratio. Scale it down. I have to make it a little larger than it actually needs to be, just because it looks so cool. All right, we could put a little Z rotation on this. Other way. Just a little bit. All right, I think that'll work. Let's check it out. It's not bad. It could actually be a little bit higher. Yeah, I might raise it a little bit here on our position. Just a bit. Yeah, that works pretty good. But we have another shot back here. Right about there. So what do you say we add another one? I'm just going to use a different one. We'll use this one here. I like this one. Pop it in. Pop it in here. And of course, we got to go to 3D warp again and rotate it around. All right, let's move it into position and we'll scale it down. Again, it's comically large. It would not be that large for real. But, you know, whenever you're telling a story or editing a video, it's about, it's not about reality in that case. All right. That looks pretty cool. Let's check it out. Boom. Yeah, that's pretty close. Boom. Yeah, again, I would probably add a little Z rotation to it. Going up. I take the position up just a bit because the next frame there, the gun is going up. So that works a little bit better. It's a little bit better. You know, on this first shot, I'm not sure I like that. I'm actually going to replace it with, oh, we'll just say this one here. I like that a little bit better. In, out. Let's pop that in here. It's much, much shorter. Zoom in. I'm just going to roll this off. Okay. Here. And again, I'm going to go ahead and promote it to 3D Warp. We'll go ahead and rotate it around. All right. Z rotation, that's way too much. Just a bit. Level it out. I kind of want it to be even with the plane of the gun. Obviously, this is way too large. Scale it down. That's pretty good. And we're going to go a little bit larger just because it looks cool. That looks good. I think that'll be okay. Let's check it. Yeah, that's not bad. Actually be a little higher. Just a little bit higher, I think. There we go. This is also, of course, applicable to any other kind of alpha channel content like explosions, dust clouds, water, glass, anything really. What about sound? I mean, this looks kind of cool, but without sound, it's still really falling flat. So I mentioned earlier about we have specialeffectsstock.com and SoundCrate, which is part of the Footage Crate. Just go to footagecrate.com. Now they have free samples for royalty-free samples for gunshots and things like that. Another option thing that I really like to use is actually the sound library for Native Instruments Battery 3. Now it has to be Battery 3, the Armageddon kit. This does not come with Battery 4. It has to be Battery 3. I really like the gunshot and explosion sounds in that pack. Another option would be go download an application called Soundly. I really enjoy using Soundly. It's a cloud-based sound effects browser, if you will, but it can also index and search your local system, so your hard drives. So here's Soundly. You can go to getsoundly.com to download it for free. And I'll just type in gunshot. We'll just search. And by the way, you can incorporate this. If you go to the store here, go to popular free. You can incorporate the freesound.org library with 100,000 free sounds. You can get the free firearm library, which that's kind of exactly what we need here, right? So just add that. Whenever you search, you'll get tons of gunshot sounds. These are local. These are ones I have. And these here are all in the cloud. Tons and tons and tons of gunshot sounds. And whenever you find one you like, say that one. It's just as easy as, say I want it from here to here. You can drag it and drop it right into Media Composer. It downloads from the internet and goes right into Media Composer. Right there it is. So then I can cut that in. Okay, so that is a few places where you can get sounds. We'll actually use this one here. Why not? Let's go to our audio tracks here. Untick that. Make sure we get this lined up right about there. And that's much better. Pretty cool, right? All right. Let me get some more gun sounds here. I could use Soundly, but I'll just navigate to my Native Instruments folder, Battery 3 kits. special kits, Armageddon kit, and I want the samples. So here's a bunch of handgun samples. I'll just pull all those in. And again, I could have used Soundly for this because it's actually indexed my sample hard drive, which is pretty cool. I could actually just find them right in here with the local and the Armageddon kit samples. I actually have them right here. Soundly is an absolutely great piece of software. I don't want this to turn into a Soundly tutorial though. So let's grab, let's see, a handgun here. That's pretty cool. That's not bad. That's cool. I like that. We're going to use that one on both of these. Let's go here and we'll pop that in. And I'll pop it in again right there. Of course, I'm going to have to fine tune this. Let me render this clip here. Okay. Yeah, that's lined up pretty darn good, as we can see. All right. Again, we can do the same thing that we just did. Oop, Control Z out of that. See, I have my video track selected. Unselect that. That's pretty cool. All right, there. And hold down Control, lock to the head of that clip. Pop it in here. Pull this down. Pretty cool. And maybe I want to add some reverb or things like that. We can, make it sound like I'm in a cave or whatever. You can do all kinds of sound design right here in Avid Media Composer with the AAX plugins, just like we use in Pro Tools. Pretty cool though. This here is kind of basic, everything we've done so far. Just adding in the effects and adding in the sounds, adding in those muzzle flashes, and then adding in the sound. You can go crazy if you want. You can add background music. You can add, background, whatever, talking.
My teeth are dry. One man finally gets his revenge. Double guns. Thursdays on OPR.
Like maybe I want to add some radio chatter behind this. I could add in a graphic using a Tyler Pro 4 here, Tyler Pro 2, whatever you want to call it. Using Tyler Pro saying, I don't know, introducing cop drama, whatever.
Cop drama, all new Thursdays. I got in this business to get the man that killed my wife.
But you've never been married.
That's beside the point. Cop drama. Why do all these guys whisper whenever they do the voiceovers? And be sure to download the CNQ app to catch your shows on the go, only for Windows Phone. Next Thursday, Cop Drama. In a world
With tarnation.
where evil goes unchecked, I think it's time that I retire. One man decides to fight.
Quick, get to the chopper!
It's the meeting you've been waiting to see for the past 5 seasons. You took my wife, underwater dog. And goats. There were goats there too for some reason. Is this right? Now I'm gonna take something of yours. Cop Drama, Thursdays on AQRXKONQSI.
You really need to shorten the name of this station already? This is ridiculous. You can do all of that right within Media Composer. So once again, make sure you're using alpha channels, alpha channel muzzle flash clips, and alpha channel clips in general. Even if you're going to do things like explosions, just remember those basics of importing in your settings and import, or if you're going to use link, go to link. But on import on your alpha channel, make sure you invert it and also pay attention to the size of the images. Things like muzzle flashes and oftentimes perhaps things like explosions. It really kind of depends. You do not want to resize them if they are smaller. That's my opinion. You do not want to resize them if they are smaller because as you saw, we're always sizing down muzzle flashes anyway. You don't want to make them larger and then size them down. There's no need for that. So pay attention to the image size adjustment. Pay attention to your alpha channel. Okay. Just pay attention to those two things. And as I was saying, Here we have, let's see, here's an explosion. Let's just pull in an explosion real quick, just so I can show another alpha channel clip here. Okay, so here is our alpha channel clip of an explosion. Pretty cool. We'll put this back here. And let's go ahead and cut it in, just so we can see more how alpha channels work. You can see that's pretty darn cool. And there I've been exploded. Not cool, bro. So again, what about sound? Sound and the visual effects, that's what really makes everything. I should have left Soundly open there. Let's go back to Soundly here. And we'll come up here and we'll do explosions. Type in EX, look for explosions. All right, right here for my Armageddon kit samples. That one's pretty good. What about this one? I like that one. I actually think that's the one I want. Let's pull that in. All right. Close down Soundly. Throw this in here. And right about there should be the explosion. Cut it in here. Actually need to go to tools here and our audio mixer. And make sure that's left and right. Okay. And I should probably render this real quick. Render our matte effect for our alpha channel just so it plays a little better. All right, let's listen to this. Then we gotta add our gunshots or whatever in there.
Thursdays on a shocking new cop drama, the heart-stopping episode everyone will be talking about. Stay with me. That is sure to leave you breathless. Hold on, I got you. Be there for the Emmy and Grammy award-winning performance. Stay with me. Stay with me. JJ, stay with me. No. Tune in for a heart-stopping cop drama, all new Thursday.
Okay, so hopefully you get the point of alpha channels, and specifically for this video was more about muzzle flashes with the alpha channel, and a little tidbit there about the importance of adding in sound, where to find sounds, where to find some free muzzle flashes, and how to do some cool things with your video in Avid Media Composer.